What's your favourite story from your culture? Probably the origins of carving, brother. Now, if people want me to tell the story, I don't mind. One thing about me, I don't mind repeating stuff. I'll even tell the different variations with the story as well. Because there's more than one. That's the fascinating thing about our culture. We have many different tribes that tell their own variation of the story. Yo, Beard Volio and Beard from Space. Yo, we got two. Oh, Bear from Space. Thank you very much, guys, for subbing. You didn't have to. Okay, tell us. So we'll start from the very beginning, eh? The very beginning. Okay, so as you all know, we have the Big Bang, or some see it as the Big Bang. I might actually turn the camera up. Or should I just carry on carving and tell the story? Posture check. Oh, Popo. Hi, friend. Oh, thanks for the sub, brother. Shit, you didn't have to. Let me know if you want me to tell the story carving or just my face. Good to see you back online. Oh, yeah, Tui. Can't carving, bro. Don't let it break your flow. Oh, it's all good. Ali Hot Potato, thank you very much for the sub. Okay, carve. Okay. So it all starts off from the beginning of time, which we call the separation of Rangi and Papa, which is our Sky Mother and Earth. Oh, Earth Mother, Sky Father. Bloody hell, brain lag. And they brought many children into the world. So as you all know, the world started with complete darkness. And from there, so as we all know from the scientific term, first there was darkness and then came light. So from our point of view, the Earth Mother and the Sky Father fathered many children, or brought many children into the nothingness. But they were between their parents, so it was dark for them at the time. And the eldest son, Tane Mahuta, who was the god of the forest, he did many different feats for our ancestors as well, like climbing the heavens to receive the baskets of knowledge. He was kind of like our Hercules as well. He done many things. Brought about the world the first human, which was a lady, obviously. And yeah, he did many things for us as a people. And then we have his siblings like Tawhiri Mātea, who was the god of the storms, the winds, and the seas, and all. The winds, sorry. I'm barreling ahead. And then Tangaro, who is the god of the sea, and the god of carving in our case. So with him, if you take a look at the sea, what's it doing? Carving the land. That's one way to look at it. But we'll get to the story about carving soon. And then we have many others like Haumie Tike, who is the god of uncultivated food. Rongomatane, who is the god of cultivated food, but also the god of peace as well. Ruaumoko, who is the youngest of all the gods, who is still in, I don't know how to say this, but in his mother's stomach. He's still a baby, and what he is the god of is earthquakes and eruptions. So just picture contraction, an earthquake, those kind of things. And who else do we have? These others. There's over 100 and something. Yeah. Gotta bounce, be excellent each other. Cheer, gods failed. Cheer, my bro. So one day, all the gods came together and they had like a meeting because they wanted to separate their parents. And only one disagreed, who was Tawhiri Mātea, Raumoku couldn't say anything because he was still in his mother's stomach. And then they all agreed. Oh, Tumatoinga was another god as well, the god of war. And they all agreed that they wanted to separate their parents. Only one disagreed, which was Tawhiri. So they all had a go at trying to separate their parents, but none were successful, right up until Tāne Mahuta had a go. Now what he did was he laid on his mother, put his feet up against his father and pushed off like a leg press. And then they slowly started to separate. So if you picture a big bang, how it's dark, as they separate, the light starts to come in, and then boom, they separate fully. And then that happened, and obviously the siblings fought, well, with Tawhiri because he disagreed fully. And out of that anger for separating his parents, Tawhiri actually ripped his eyes out, the god of the winds. And he threw them to his father as a gift, but from his eyes Matariki was born, which is a star constellation that you see within the Maori New Year, Pleiades by the name of it. And he declared to his brothers that he will always go to war with them. That's why you always see storms beating the land, beating everything on the surface. And then that passed, and then came to the brother Tāne Mahuta as years passed, and wanting to create the first man or lady. Okay, so he made her out of clay, and blew life into her. So if you look at us carvers, we never blow on the wood. I mean, with these particular projects you can, but when it comes to a sacred project, you never blow on the wood like this, because you're imitating him, pretending to put life into his child. That's only when you're doing sacred pieces. But with these kind of pieces it's fine, because you're not working under tapu or sacredness. And then, as obviously he did the feat where he climbed the 12 heavens to receive the baskets of knowledge for mankind. Now it was a race between him and Whiro, who's the god of mischief, everything negative, and bad bugs as well. And when he came to the 7th heaven, he noticed a structure there, which was an ancestral meeting house, what we know today. As he got closer, the structure started taking shape, and he could hear someone talking. And he was trying to find the person or the god who it might be, but he couldn't find it. As he got closer, he noticed a carving was talking to him, which is a popo kaiawha. So if you ever Google an ancestral meeting house, there's a carved statue that sits out the front by the entrance. That's what we call a popo kaiawha. And it's kind of like a sentinel or a guardian. Now the purpose of that carving is to keep out negative energy when visiting tribes come in, because you get the odd egg in a tribe or something. So that's the main function for that carving, keeping negative energy out when visiting tribes would come in and visit. Now if this particular carving wasn't on a meeting house, they would have the top warrior of the tribe sit out the front and guard. Yeah, pretty much just. So as Tāne Mahuta was talking to this carving, he goes, what is this? And what the carving said is, he wharenui, it's a meeting house. And then he called out to his brother Tangaroa to come up, the god of the sea, to have a look at the structure. And then he got there and he goes, yo ki tēnei, what is this? And then that's when he explained, it's a meeting house. And then the request he gave to his brother, I want you to put that down there. So he said, make a meeting house down on the earth. And that's what Tangaroa did. He carved a meeting house, or he took a meeting house, placed it on the bottom of the sea, and that became his house for him and his many, many children. The crayfish, the flounder, the snapper, the fish, anything that resides within the sea. Now the only things that couldn't sleep in the so other cultures might know him as kanaloa. Now if we have any other Polynesian cousins in here, you can tell us your translation of the god of the sea as well. So yeah, but the only things that did not lay in the meeting house was the whales. Now they would guard the house. They usually so there's one whale in particular called Ruamano, and he would slide up and down the barge boards of the meeting house, which are the large barge boards that pan down. You can see it in the latest YouTube video. And yeah, so they guarded the meeting house and they guarded the sea as well. So from that story, yep, fast forward a few years, and to us, to men. Now, the story begins with an ancestor by the name of Rua Te Pupuke. Now, he was an ancestor that came from Rongo Whakata, which is a tribe down the east coast there, around Gisborne ways. And he was one of the first carvers in Te Ao Maori, like man. So it starts with him and Manuruhi, who was his son. Now there are variations that say Manuruhi was actually the son of Tangaroa, the god of the sea, but also there are other variations to the story as well amongst the tribes. Now I will tell the main one that is told in the carving school, and two other variations as well. Now with the main story, Rua Te Pupuke and his son Manuruhi went fishing one day. And he had a good special hook, and he was catching a lot of fish, like catching a lot. And his son could see it. And he asked his father, "Oh, can I have a turn with your hook?" And Rua Te Pupuke said, "Ai, kai te pai, yep, all good. But the only thing I ask is that you throw your first catch back to Tangaroa as an offering, because you're about to take his children." So that's what fishermen do. Some don't, some do it. Give your first fish back to Tangaroa. So obviously he grabbed his fish hook, and then Rua Te Pupuke left to go home, but Manuruhi stayed behind. And then obviously being young, no bloody ears, he did the complete opposite. He caught his first fish, he kept it, and kept catching and catching and catching, until he caught the attention of Tangaroa. Now because he was angry and annoyed with what he was doing with his children, he grabbed the fish hook and he dragged them down to the bottom of the sea. And then obviously with that, as Manuruhi was being dragged down, Tangaroa planted him on his meeting house, the one we were talking about earlier. Now the name of this meeting house is called Hui Te Anganui. And sometimes at the apex of the meeting house you will have a carved face, or a carved statue, or even both. And so Tangaroa and his children mounted him on the apex of their meeting house, and he turned into a carved statue, slowly turning. And going back to Rua Te Pupuke, as time passes by, as a child, or as a parent gets worried for their child, he goes back to the fishing spot, notices his son's not there, and completely baffled, he didn't know where he would be until he got closer and saw the drag marks into the sea. And he knew straight away that obviously little shit didn't listen. And so from that he knew straight away, jump in the sea and go and look for him. And yeah, he searched the sea for hours on end, and until he came across that particular structure at the bottom of the sea, the seabed floor. And he was obviously scratching his head going, "What the hell is that?" And as he got closer, yep, the structure started taking shape. And in some instances, some say he could see like bubbles coming out of the mouth of the carving. In his case, his son, slowly turning into a carving. And he got closer and he knew straight away his son was on the apex of the meeting house. And what he had to do was try and figure out a way how he can get his son back, obviously. And yeah, so what he did, don't quote me on this, he lit the house on fire. So he waited for all the Tangaroa's children to go to sleep inside the meeting house. He blocked off every entrance but the doorway. And then, obviously setting the house on fire, they all tried to look for a way to escape, and it was through that particular door. So what he did is they all escaped the house. First one to come out was the Flounder. He hit it on the head so hard that it went flat. And yeah, so you see the Flounder today, it's got a flat head. It's one-sided, if you would say. And then the next one was the Octopus. He smashed all the bones in its legs until it had none left. And you see the octopus as we do today. And then a few more children came out. One, for instance, was the Snapper. Obviously been stuck in there for a little bit long. Got a bit burnt, red. Now there's another story behind the redness of the Snapper as well. But we're talking about carving for now. And yeah, it escaped, and then even a crayfish as well came out red. I mean, if you cook it, what colour is it? Yeah. And then he got closer to the meeting house, and he's going to take his son down off the apex, and he noticed talking still inside the meeting house. Now, there was two carvings in there that were talking on either side of the meeting house. Dupsaurus, brother, thanks for the sub, my bro. You didn't have to. And so what he did, he took his son down, and then he went down inside the meeting house here, and he noticed these two carvings talking. Now their names were Wheri and Whera, but because it was too hot, he couldn't save them. So because he wanted to take them, and hopefully they could teach him how to carve, but obviously didn't work, because if we had carvings today, they'd be talking. Cheer, Fanta. And so from there, yeah, took his son back up and basically replicated what he saw on the carvings. So he took some from the outside. So that's pretty much the story. Have a good appointment, Fanta. Yeah, so there are other variations to this story as well. Like with my tribe, for instance, Tuhoi, we say that his pet Tui was taken, and the way he found it, he could hear it calling in the water. Another variation as well is that when he went down to the meeting house on the seabed, it wasn't carved figures, it was more core whaiwhai designs. Yeah, that's story time. Hopefully there wasn't too much. Was that all good? Sorry if I missed your guys' comments. Yeah, I get lost in the story sometimes until I've told it. Oh, all good, Nomad. All good. That's why I'm here, just to share. This is not DJ Spell. Okay. Ooh, we got an image from Thunder. Who wants a sneak peek? Yo. Okay, who likes Endeavour Mufasa? Thought I'd give you a little sneak peek. So there it is there. That's one of our emotes coming up, 1 out of 3. Let's go. Shout out to Thunder Punch as well, so he's my go-to man for emotes. Yeah, so that's the other idea I had, fusing them two together. I mean, I don't rage, but I mean, it will happen when we start playing games. It's a bit personal. Feel free to ignore. What woodcarving story has had the biggest impact on your life? I wouldn't say a story from this art form, but the way it was handed down had a big impact, brother. Yeah, heart of the lion, man. Cheer, my bro. So because in days of old, brother, for our maybe my grandparents or even my great-grandparents, it was illegal for us to practice our own, like, language, anything to do with our culture, brother. It became illegal, and they try to wipe it out. McVitie's Jaffa Cakes, I hope I said that right. Thank you, brother. He didn't have to. So yeah, with our ancestors, brother, when the settlers came, or colonizers, the way you want to call it, they try to eradicate our own thing, bro, our own real language, and obviously carving being one of them. And being told this in school, bro, pretty much ignited the flame, eh? Like, being grateful that they defied the odds and carried on until Sir Apirananata passed an act of parliament to protect the arts and our language. That's one of the main things with carving, bro. Just being grateful that we get it because of our ancestors being defiant. So I guess it's sort of to do with carving. But yeah, that's my one. Kata mawhiro. Utsi mai taha, mehe mai. E olore he karoria, he maungaro mō ki runga i te matatafu. Whakaaro pai ki nā tangata katoa amine. He mea matu nā tōku pāpa. He mea matinui a hau nā tōku māma. Karoria ki tō inua tapu.